Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Westford webinar series. I'm not sure if I can say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We are from different time zones, but surely I hope all of you are having a great day, and we are looking forward to a very exciting webinar today, and from a very special guest, Harold Mayne-Nicholls, who will be talking to us on a very essential topic: how sports play a catalyst role in leadership and self-development. I'm sure all of us are in some way or the other involved in sports, following sports, watching sports, actively involved in it, encouraging others around us. And we thought this is a very important topic for all of us to be discussing on. And we have a very special guest. I'm Zawahir, representing Westford University College on behalf of a large community of students who are spread across 113 countries around the world. And we have a very diverse group. We also have, apart from our students, other guests appearing or attending this webinar. Let me take some time to introduce our special guest, a very passionate sports follower, has been in sports administration for over 3 decades. Harold Mayne-Nicholls. He's currently based in Chile, so I would prefer to say good morning to all of you because our guest is in Chile, and it's 4 minutes past 9 a.m. in Chile for him. We have participants from various parts of the world. I'm not sure about Antarctica, but I'm sure that we are covering the other 6 continents. We have predominantly most of our participants from Asia, Arab, Middle East, Africa, and we also have participants from Europe, surely from South America, Chile to be particular, North America as well, from the US, Canada, and from all parts of the world. So you're all in different time zones. Thank you for being here. To introduce Mr. Harold, he's been active in sports. He's been the former FIFA chairman especially for the World Cup bid inspection team for the Russia World Cup in 2018 and the forthcoming in Qatar for 2022. He's been very active in leadership roles there. But going back to looking at a bit of his history, he has been in sports administration, yes. He did his graduation in journalism, and while being in the university, during his university days, was active in photography and in journalism. But immediately after graduating, he also went on to do his MBA later on. After his graduation, he started off his career in PR, in public relations and communications. His first break was in 1986, being the public relations and communications officer in Epson, Chile. But his big break came in 1991 as the press officer for Copa América, which is a very popular tournament in South America. And then the next big break obviously came in 1993, being the press officer for FIFA, the largest sports governing body in the world, or for all the football fans who would know. And that was the build-up for the 1994 World Cup in the United States of America, for which he was actively involved and traveling around. And then he went on, then it became routine for him to be covering a lot of sporting events. He also was the general coordinator for football in the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. And then from there on, various footballing events, whether it be Copa America or FIFA or Confederation Cup or Olympics, actively involved, covering sports and being in public administration roles. But he's also been the president of the Football Federation in Chile, and active in the period and during his reign, Chile as a football team, as the national football team, did really well. He did also manage the futsal World Cup team of Chile in 1996. So pretty much been there for over 3 decades. And in a very special program that he headed was obviously the football fans would surely know about the FIFA Goal program. For over a decade, he was running that as well. And we would surely look forward to hear the story of a very passionate sports follower, to be specific, a football follower, Harold Mayne is going to take us through his experience, his learning, and a lot of inputs he's going to give us as far as leadership and self-development is concerned. He's surely going to take us through his experience meeting some of the legendary figures in the football world, be it Diego Maradona or some of the best coaches, the best coach in the world at the moment, Pep, or Alex Ferguson, who was at the helm with Manchester United. He would talk through us about some of the legendary global leaders like Nelson Mandela or Putin. We're looking forward to hear all these good stories, but I should also tell, unlike many legends in the sporting world, he didn't just decide to go and retire and just appear for public events. He's still actively involved. He's not very old either. You can see him. He's very young at heart, very active, plays football at least once in a week, even at this stage. But once he was off the Football Federation of Chile, he started his own foundation, which is called the Fundación Ganamos Todos, which he'll talk about a little while ago. By the way, he started this in 2011. It's been 9 years now, and he's heading the organization. But some remarkable achievements. He's been involved in grooming over 230 communities, over 9,000 adults, about 9,000 adults who have been trained, and that is in the last 9 years. So you're talking about 1,000 a year, and over 200,000 children whom he has trained in the last 9 years as well. And most importantly, you can't keep Harold away from sports administration. 2019, correct me if I'm wrong, Harold, 2019, which is a year ago, on the 1st of May, he took over as the vice president of one of the most popular clubs in Chile. In the last 95 years history, they won 49 titles and many more achievements. So he's actively involved with that club, Colo Colo, as well. So this is in brief about Harold, and we are looking forward to a very roller coaster kind of interaction with him, and I'm sure all of you will enjoy. But a couple of things more. He's also been actively involved in teaching in universities in Chile and Argentina. So he's contributing all around everywhere in whatever ways he can. And one passionate story that I surely want to share with you, the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. While he could have been traveling with most privileged business class across the country, watching his team Chile playing the World Cup from one city to the other, he preferred to travel on road, drive by himself in the car with his wife and 5 children across Brazil from one city to the other, passionately as a normal fan, watching the sport, watching his team play, and traveling across Brazil. And that was one passionate story as well to talk about Harold Mayne. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Good morning, because our guest is from Chile and it is 9:10 a.m. for him. I hope you'll enjoy this, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this talk through the next 30 to 40 minutes. And after that, we are going to have a Q&A, and I'm sure you'll have prizes from Harold during the question and answer session as well. What you need to do is, now you may be in a public chat forum now, but you need to move on to the Q&A chat section and post your questions there. I'll be moderating your questions there as well. I'll read out your questions, and Harold will be more than happy to answer your questions. So once again, welcome to you all for the Westford Seminar Series. Harold Mayne-Nicholls talking to you on how sports play a catalyst role in leadership and self-development. Enjoy, and over to you, Harold. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Sawair, for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be with all the people all over the world. As you said, for me, it's a big challenge to do this. I'm old-fashioned. I'm not so much involved on this kind of presentations, but I will do my best. Well, first of all, I hope everyone is safe. They are keeping safe. Perhaps they have to stay at home. And we know nowadays it's not easy to stay at home, but I think it's the best thing we can do due to all the challenges we have with all this COVID-19 and coronavirus and all this, what is affecting the whole world. Well, as you said, I'm right now the Colo-Colo vice president. I'm also the chairman of Fundación Ganamos Todos that I founded a couple of 10 years ago. But today we will have a mix between sports and the foundation, and I want to get involved Colo-Colo too on this presentation. So for today, I have two shirts. This is one of the shirts of Colo-Colo. This is our away shirt. There it is. And I have another one. This is for ladies. It's also from Colo-Colo. This is a shirt that the ladies use in Copa Libertadores. So I have two shirts for today. So as we will have the question and answer, the Q&A at the end of the presentation, then we will have the best two questions, the best lady asking and the best men asking. We will send to them one of these shirts as a souvenir, so they can use it in their daily sports activities. So the question will be at the end of the presentation, and we also will have a poll that from time to time I will be introducing you. So now let's go to the presentation. There it is. Well, as I said, the foundation is called Ganamos Todos, and today I'm really thanking Sawir and also all the people from the Westford University to invite me to do this presentation. And we are talking about how sports play a catalytic role in leadership and self-development. Let me try to move. And this is one of the most famous coaches in Chile. It's Mr. Luis Álamos. He is the only Chilean that went to two World Cup. Worked the Chilean national team. He was in the World Cup. And World Cup 1964. He's had a full sentence to everyone more than 50 years ago when he said, in Chile, we mastered two of the four mathematical operations, subtraction and division. We have a hard time adding and multiplying. He said that we are very good dividing, very good subtracting, but we have a hard time adding and multiplying. And I think that this is the key element for everyone that wants to be involved in sports or in any other activity. How can we add? How can we multiply more than divide, more than subtracting? So what he said in 1968 in a magazine called Goal that I read it when I was a young child, I never forgot about this sentence. How can we add and multiply in life? And that's what I want to talk to you this morning. I don't know what time you have. I heard that my great friend Pierre Lafranchi is there, so it must be near tea time for him. But for us, it's still breakfast time. Well, what a definition of a leader? It's a person who is followed by the group, recognizing him as a leader or a counselor. There's another way to define it. It's a person or team that is at the head of a sport competition. And finally, it indicates that the designated person is ahead of his or her class. Those are the three definitions. I like much more the first one. They recognize you as a counselor. They follow you and they recognize you as a counselor. That for me is by far the best definition. So with that definitions, and as Sawa here and the people from the Westford University invite me to this presentation, I went working with some books, looking for information there, looking for what I can take from here to talk to you this morning. And in all the books I watch, I found these 9 essential attributes to be a leader. First, convincing power, then flexibility, perseverance, humility, to anticipate the facts, to have discipline, to have rigorosity, authenticity, and finally, perhaps this one picks everything together, is to have a teamwork. So with that on mind, I have a chat the other day with a very good friend, my very good friend Pep Guardiola, and I asked him, "Look, I have to do a presentation at the Westford University in Dubai. I have to talk about leadership. You are a leader, but also you have leaders on the locker room. You had it in Barcelona, you have it in Bayern Munich, now you have it in Man City. What is a leader for you?" And he said me in a very short sentence, "A leader is one who helps another become a better person. A leader is one who helps another become a better person." I went to the books. That sentence was not on the book. I went to the website looking, that was not there. So I said, well, with this sentence, with this on mind, I had the chance to travel to more than 80 countries due to football, due to sports. I did conference classes, lectures in more than 40 of those. I went all over the world. I had chances that other people didn't have. Let's keep the books, but let's talk about what is in football, the way that we work on leadership. And let's use the attributes like humility is a virtue which consists in the knowledge of one's own limitations and weaknesses and in acting in accordance with this knowledge. So, what is humility? I know what I don't have. Let ask when I have to ask. Let act knowing that I don't know everything, because a lot of people think that they know everything. I had a chance to be in charge of 2 World Cup opening games. One was Japan-Korea 2002. I was in Seoul, the general coordinator. I was in charge of that beautiful opening ceremony. And later, 4 years later, I was in Munich at the opening ceremony of the World Cup 2006. I was a general coordinator for FIFA, so I was in charge to work for FIFA on that. I think I arrived to Munich 20 days before. I saw every day how they were preparing the opening ceremony. I discussed the details with the director. I worked on the videos. We did everything there. So the day of the game, the opening game, and the opening ceremony, when the ceremony began and we were on time, I said, okay, now let's go and prepare the game. The game was Costa Rica against Germany. Let's do that job now. And I was there, and suddenly Pelé appeared. And I took him to his locker room, and I said, look, here you will have to be. We will come here and tell you what time you have to go to the pitch. And Pelé put a face. I said, something is wrong here. So I asked him, do you know what you have to do? And he said me, no, I have no idea. They told me to be here at this time. I'm here. So I have to explain everything to Pelé. And he said, okay, no trouble. A couple of minutes later arrived Claudia Schiffer, top model at that time, a German top model. And with Claudia Schiffer, exactly the same. Do you know what you have to do? And she said, no idea. So I have to explain. I put them both together. And the main thing was that they will be walking to the middle of the field. From there will appear from the grass, the cap on that white tube you can see on the picture on the center, and they have to show the cup, the FIFA World Cup trophy, to all the world. that was the end of the inauguration. And then the Germans, what they wanted is to show the world that this was a game for everyone. Doesn't matter the color you have, doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter nothing. This was the World Cup for everyone. The picture of the center was in the main newspapers of Germany the next day. And so that was the ceremony. Of course, both of them were at top of the top, but they said, we don't know what to do. We need your help. Please tell us what to do. That's that when you are able to do it, it's because you really have a humility and you can do it on a good way. I don't know. I cannot change the. Right. Let's go to the next one. I couldn't change it. As I said, this is a big challenge for me. Now they asked me to do a poll. Let's try to do that. The poll, I open the poll here. No. No chance to do it. So, well, here it is. Which is your favorite sport? We have football or soccer, basketball, volleyball, rugby. Then we have tennis, track and field, handball, baseball, others. Please vote, submit. For me, by far is football and soccer. So I put my answer and we continue. This is really, really a challenge for me. I'm used to be in a classroom talking or in another place, but do these kind of things, I'm learning a lot. So thank you very much again, Sarah Weir, and all the people from the university for inviting me. Then another essential attribute is convincing power. How can we move someone with reasons to do something or to change their opinions on or behavior? How can we talk with him? There are two ways to convince. One is just to give the order. The other one is how can we really convince him? I had the chance to be at the World Cup in 1994 in Boston. Boston was the place where Argentina will be playing against Greece. This is the day and the moment when Argentina is training for their game against Greece. At that time, media had no problem to be on the stands watching the practice. There was no secret at that time. The game was easy. Now it's much more difficult. Lot of information, really, really tough. The coaches take it so seriously that they want nobody to see nothing. It's hard. On those days was much easier. And there was a lot of media, as you can see, but they were on the stands. And between the stands and the grass were like 4 meters altitude. And all of them went to the first row of the stands trying to take a word from Maradona. So I saw him. So I said, look, Diego, all these guys are trying to get a quote from you. Why don't you attend them here on the field? Just be out of the field, but just at this level, so we avoid any problem from them up there. And he said, no, I want to train. Diego, look, why don't you do it? It will be easy for everyone, and it will be easy for you too. That will mean that at the end of the training session, you will be able to go to the bus and not to stop to talk with them. Okay, let's do it. Maradona is a guy that is there, as you can see, and that's myself 26 years ago. I was younger one day. Well, everything went well. The next day, Maradona scored, I think, one of the best goals of that World Cup. Argentina beat 4-0 Greece. And in 4 more days, he played against Nigeria. Argentina won again. And that's the famous or infamous doping situation for Diego Maradona. By far the best player on that World Cup at that moment. So he was selected for the doping control. So he was leaving the pitch, and a nursery from the US and also a police in the US at that time. Doping and still now was against the law. So wherever you were selected, people have to take you, a police and also a nurse, to the doping control room. So Maradona was working with this girl. This girl was divorced from an Argentinian, so you can imagine how happy she was. And he was walking there, talking with them, and this video will show you what happened at that moment.
La fe que baja de la tribuna se confunde con la fe de Maradona. Y de la mano, juntos, como debe ser, Maradona se va del campo de juego. Ha ganado la selección argentina. Tiene 6 puntos. Está invicta. 2 goles de Canilla para la felicidad y el reconocimiento de Amokachi, que seguramente, como todos los nigerianos, le pide la camiseta a Diego. Ahí está Maradona, feliz, contento, queriendo prolongar una tarde de gloria. La fe sigue bajando desde la tribuna. Maradona recibe ese cariño.
Well, there I am, telling him, because he came to me and he asked me, what's going on with this lady? And he said, ¿Qué pasa con esta mina? What's going on with this lady? So I said, Diego, you must go to the doping control. Sure, yeah, sure, it's over there. And I took him to the doping control with, of course, the nurse. Well, then was the famous, infamous doping. He was out of the World Cup, so and so. But a couple of years later, I met him. And I said, Diego, look, we were talking to him, and I do actually 3 of my kids. And he immediately say, of course, no problem, how are you, and so on. When you try to convince someone with reasons, it's completely different than when you give orders. Then the people come back to you and also give you something back. That's very, very important. And when you do that, you have to be authentic. You have to be honest. You have to be true with your origins and conviction. It's the only way. People, if not, they realize that you're not talking on the right way. This guy over there, I'm sure you recognize him. It's if not one of the if not the strongest man in the world, it's nearby there, Mr. Vladimir Putin. And just in front of him, you can see my back. That's myself. That's myself. That's Mr. Putin. This was a meeting we had when I was in charge of the inspection group for the World Cup 2018 in summer house, in prepared to be 1 hour, and was all in Russian. Mr. Putin said, in my house we talk Russian, so it would have to translate me. Of course, I don't speak a single word of Russian. So we were talking there for 1 hour, and he was telling me what they will be doing for the World Cup, how they will prepare the country to have the World Cup in 8 years' time. This was 2010. And just on the other side of the table, lot of media, hundreds of media there, filming, taking notes and everything. I was really concentrated. It was not easy to put to hear and take notes. Same time as translating was not easier than I had during this. Suddenly, and I have no idea at that moment, all the media disappeared. We were only ourselves there. And when that happened, I said, well, now I have an opportunity to ask Mr. Putin about 2 things that I think is really weak for Russia for organizing the World Cup. First was the security at the airport. Second was the highways. And so I said to him, the meeting, as I said, was almost finishing, and we stayed more than 30 minutes talking about these 2 subjects. Mr. Putin telling me what they will be going to do there. He told me, those are weak points. Thank you very much for answering, and he went through. I was at the Confederations Cup in 2017. As Sahui said, I drove 15,000 kilometers from my house to Brazil following the Chilean national team, and then I stayed. I came back with my car. Still have that car. It's a car for collection. But then I said, let's do the same in Russia. I have been a couple of times in Russia, mainly in St. Petersburg and Moscow. Let's go to the real Russia. I drove there for the Confederations Cup in 2017. I think I rode like 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers. Incredible country. I really recommend it. One of the top countries I have never seen. And then for the World Cup, I also went. By this time, I didn't have time to go driving. And I can tell you that Russia improved a lot from 2010 to 2018 on highways, on security, and on security on the airports. And they did a wonderful World Cup. And I was very proud to tell Mr. Putin this will help to have a much better World Cup. So we did that, but we did it following a strategy. You cannot just tell things. I'm sure if I tell Mr. Putin, your airport have no security with all the media there, that will cause a big trouble, big trouble. You have to find the moment when you have to say the things that you want to say. Let's say that's a strategy. Adjust a process and set a rules that ensure an optimal result. These pictures are from the first game ever of the FIFA World Club Champions. We are talking about 2000, January 2000, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Very warm day, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, very warm, so the people could watch the game live. Man United fans watch it live in the UK and of course in all Europe. This is Necaxa against Man United. Necaxa playing wonderful football, really good football, and they scored the first goal, and they were leading 1-0, and the English team was really desesperated. They couldn't have the ball, and in minute 22 or 23, David Beckham committed that foul, and the Argentinian Elizondo showed him the red card. At the end of the game, with 10 players, Man United, the best team on the world for everyone at that time, was able to draw, and the game finished 1-1. And at that time, you have to, after the game, when you were in charge, I was in charge of the organization of this game, you have to go to the locker rooms of each team and talk to the coach or to the manager if everything was okay. So I went there and I asked the Mexican coach, is everything okay? And he said, yes, everything is okay. Not a single problem. Thank you very much for everything. He was so happy. Before the game, people thought that the Necaxa will receive 5 or 6 goals against Man United, and they draw, and they play much better. So he was really happy. So, okay, I walked to the other side and I talked to Mr. Ferguson. Sir Alex, was everything okay? And he was so mad. He lost control. He began saying, I don't remember. But 5 or 10 minutes telling me all kind of things. So, of course, not nice word. So I said, well, okay, I have 2 things here. One, I can make a report and tell FIFA about what's going on this changing room. 2, keep it. And when Sauer here invite me to the Westford University, I tell all the people seeing us about this story. I did the second one. What will I give to football, to the game, to what is my passion, if I say that the behavior of Mr. Ferguson, that was really mad, was not good enough? I say nothing. What I did is I suggest FIFA to take from the jobs or the duties of a general coordinator at that point. That was the last tournament that it was supposed that the general coordinator goes to the locker room to talk to the coach and ask him if it was okay. So with that was the strategy I used. I cannot say that I'm a good friend of David Beckham, but if we find each other, we will be able to talk and so on. But with whom I have a good friendship is with Mr. Ferguson. 2 days later, he picked up the phone, he called me and he said, sorry very much, I didn't behave well. I was really mad with all the result, the way we played. We were not playing seriously, so and so. So when you use the right strategy, you have the right results too. And then comes this incredible attribute, perseverance. I think it's one of the most difficult attributes that a leader can show. How can you remain constant on what you start in an attitude or an opinion and try to finish it? This is Cape Town, Robben Island, and this man stayed there on prison for 17 years. He stayed in prison for 27 years just because he thought that we are all the same. We have the same rights. We have exactly the same way of living and so on. Mr. Mandela is an example for everyone, will be an example for life. Well, I met him at Robben Island, but I didn't meet him here. I met him in this room. This was where he stayed on jail. It's a room of 2.5 meters plus 2.5 meters. And we were there with all the FIFA inspection visit for the World Cup 2010. I was the coordinator for that visit. And Mr. Mandela, and we were on watching this room, an incredible silence, really impressed. And Mr. Mandela suddenly came from the back and he said, I don't know how I could do gym inside here during 17 years, every morning. I turned, I'm a journalist that's my degree, I'm a journalist by formation. And I say, Mr. President, why you did gym inside here, having such a big garden outside? And Mr. Mandela moved his face and said, look, it was impossible to do something outside. Every morning, they put us outside at 7 o'clock. We couldn't move. They bring rocks, and we were knocking rocks every morning. Doesn't matter if it was sun, raining, or whatever. There we were. And during the day, we were not able to move inside the room. There was always a guard coming one side, the other side. We were not able to talk between us. But one day, at the beginning, I realized that by 5 o'clock, nobody was walking. So I woke up every morning at 5 o'clock, and during 1 hour, I did exercises here. And then another of my friends said, well, what a fantastic thing. Why you did that? Well, said Mr. Mandela, if I wanted to be the leader of my country, I have to be very smart, with my mind clear. I have to be with my spirit clear, but mainly I have to be on a good physical condition. If not, people will not trust me. For me, it's an incredible story what Mandela told us that day, and I will never ever forget it. One of the leaders of the world that give us such example as these kids. Now comes video number 2, please. As these kids that are blind, but they also practice sport. Let's see the video of these 2 sports men that we help with our foundation. Please play it.
The snakes I couldn't find. I don't want
Well, these two guys, they are very, very sports fanatics, and they are champions in Chile. The lady is champion in Pan America, and she was third in the World Cup in Qatar, and they are blind. The man is a champion of 100 meters, and he only can see, he has a vision less than 25%, and she only has a vision less than 2%. If nobody is working with them, if nobody is helping them, they cannot work. And they need a lot of discipline to be sure that they get the goals that they are looking. That's the reason why at the foundation we help them, and we try to find them the way to improve all what they are doing, because they have a lot of discipline. And for me, it's really difficult to find someone with more discipline than this guy. I'm sure you recognize him. It's Manuel Pellegrini. He's an engineer. He went to the university at the same time he played professional football, studying engineer. I'm talking on the 70s. And for sure, he's the most famous engineer in our country. And that is because he has discipline. It's really difficult to find one action of Manuel that he was saying, we will do this and that, and he did exactly the opposite. He's always there, and he's always following that. And as I said, not only is the most famous football coach in Chilean football coach in our history, and by far the one with more prestige, but also the most famous engineer in our country in the world. And he used teamwork as these athletes, as Ferguson, as Mr. Guardiola, as everyone. I had the chance to work 4 years with Mr. Marcelo Bielsa, and I can tell you that by far he was the easier guy to work on a teamwork basis. Why? Because before getting an agreement, before telling one each other, okay, we'll work together, we have a long list of things that we said, we will follow this. This is the things that we want to follow. This is your rights. This is what we can do. This is what we cannot do. And we follow it during near 4 years. That's the reason that we got some success. Because mainly I asked him, I don't care who's going to play. I never heard about which are the players on the lineup. Never, ever. That's not my job. My job is how can we transmit some values to our people in the country. In Chile, our national team gets more than 87% of supporters. That's what on a poll that we did in 2007. And that's it, 87%. So everyone is following the national team. So we need to transmit values, not only to get a result that we are looking, of course, to win. No. And which were the values that I asked Mr. Bielsa? I want a lot of rigorosity on the preparation of the team. I want discipline. I want humility. If we have these three together, the success is guaranteed. And it was guaranteed, not only because we qualified for the World Cup in South Africa 2010. No. It's because we changed the mentality of our people. Mr. Bielsa changed the mentality of our people. He told the people with his message, we can do it. And that's much more important than winning or losing a game. And of course, now he's in Leeds. This was the last time we walked near 2 hours in Leeds talking about different subjects. We never talk about football. We never talk about why this guy playing on the midfield because he's a very good defender. That's his job. I'm a fanatic. I like it very much, but I don't understand why they take the decisions. So as I don't understand, I prefer to avoid it. Let's make another break. Let's see if I now can show you the second poll. Our polling. Okay, the second one is very easy. Is would you like to work in the sports industry? Oops, a lot of you want to work there. Well, now as it was not that in my days. In my days was really difficult, really difficult to study sports administration. Now it's a lot of things. If you want to work on the sports industry, I will suggest you. This will be my suggestion to try to study, to try to follow it. Let's see which was the main sport. Of course, no mistake. Football, 54%. Basketball, 14%. Volleyball, 10%. Oof, congratulations. 8% for tennis, and others 14%. Good information. Let's go. Let's continue then. Now, I'm learning, guys. So please. Well, which is the other thing that we can work always as a leader, and we have to do it on a long-term vision. We cannot work thinking on the game on Saturday, on Sunday. We have to think, okay, what I want to leave as a legacy for the next 5 years. How can I plan it? How can I develop it? How can I work on that? It's not easy, I can tell you. Because this new word is coming day after day. Resilience. When I was at the university, never heard about it. Never ever. It was used by the physics on a certain physical experiences. And what is resilience? It's the human capacity to assume with flexibility, limit situations, and to overcome them. I have been in a couple of limit situations, but never as this one. This is in the north of Chile, in the desert, the driest desert in the world, Copiapó. This is a stadium of Copiapó. Copiapó plays in second division. This is a stadium, it's like 3 levels under the street level, above the street level, above the street level. So I went there when there was rain there for 2 days. The river collapsed, big destroy, a chaos. I went there just to see what was the city with all this trouble. And I went to the stadium and I discovered this picture. If you see, this is the goal bar. So everything is water. And there was one guy there. And I began talking to him and asking him, what a disaster. This football field is really suffering. And he said to me, no, sir. We were very, very lucky that the football field was above the street level. Why? Because the mud that was under the coming with the water was chaotic, and if it continued to the city, it would be destroying the hospital that is 3 blocks away from the stadium. So every time I make this picture 6 months later, every time that this is a limit situation affecting you, something good is coming too. I'm sure about that. I have that every day thinking on that. A lot of people think that this is my worst day of my life when I lost the re-election to come back to continue at the Football Federation, or when Bielsa said I will be leaving Chile. Other ones say that when I was banned by FIFA for 7 years because I wrote a letter asking if one of my kids could go to an academy in Qatar, they said that was the FIFA committee said that was corruption. I was the only one banned by FIFA still now for all the Qatar rumors and so on. I'm sure they will do a wonderful World Cup. They will be a top of the World Cup, but I'm the only one banned. Anyway, I will go to Doha for the World Cup. Hope to go with the Chilean national team. After this 7 years ban, I appeal and it disappeared because the task said, look, this has no sense. But anyway, it was. But nothing compares with this moment. Nothing compares with this moment. I'm at that moment at Manchester United Stadium in Manchester City. And they said me, why don't you go? And they were practicing and they said me, why don't you go and take a penalty? And I said, well, this is one lifetime opportunity. I went there. That was, I think, the third goalkeeper of Man United on the goal. I took the ball. You can see how far it's going from the goal. I think it's 1 or 2 meters. This is impossible really to come back and do it again. This is a limit situation. Why? Because every time there's a penalty on the league I play in on over 60 years league. If someone wants to invite us for a tour, take note, we go. We have been playing in 6 or 7 countries and we like very much to travel. So if someone has an over 60 team and wants to play football, we are ready. Or if they want to come to Chile, we host you. But the ball was so far, the picture was immediately on the web. Everyone was laughing. Every time it's a penalty in our competition, in our league, my teammate says, no. You go to Manchester. There you have to take the penalty. Let's play the video number 3, and I will ask you to be very careful. It's a very short video. The one with a brown jacket it's myself. Go ahead, please. Please, that one in with the brown jacket, it's myself. Go ahead. When you are, it doesn't matter where, in the sports business or any other sport, you will fall one and another time, and another time, and another time. And you have to be able to come back and to continue. That's resilience. When you really fell down and you come back again. Let's go again to another ball. We have 2 open. I cannot go to the third one. I don't know why. Okay. How many hours you consume sports or media, TV, radio, social media, etc. per week? Well, I can tell my story. I think I consume every day between 2 and 3 hours, so that would be 721. More than 15, I will give the answer of D. I think it's too much. Too much. Yesterday, I watched 4 games in a row. There was Chile playing on the World Cup in 1962. I watched a game against Russia, against Germany, then Russia, then Brazil on the semifinal, and Yugoslavia on the 3rd and 4th place. That was near 8 hours watching football in a row. I think it's too much, but well, cannot try to stop it. So when we talk about all these facts and values and essential attributes for any leader, I think we really need to work on this sentence. How can we help to build a better future? And our duty is here and now. And that's the reason why we create this foundation, Fundación Ganamos Todos. We want to connect sport permanently with the social and educational development of the country. We want to have sport involved on every minute of our kids, sports or physical activities. And our mission doing this, it's very easy. We have to work developing the game. We have to try to excite the community. And if we do both things together, developing and exciting, we will be able to build a better future. I do it in sport because that's my passion. I'm sure there are other things for others that can do it even better than myself, just on investigating, or just as an artist, painting, cinema, etc., etc., etc. But we have to develop, we have to excite, and with those together, we will help to build a better future. That's our role as a leader. We have been doing it on our foundation on the last 10 years, developing the sport, bringing to the kids physical health, spiritual health. Spiritual health. That is very, very important in nowadays. And finally, and the most important thing, values. It's not only how much money I will get at the end of the month. It's how much I'm contributing to build a better world for the future of everyone. We have a philosophy of sport that we have been learning, talking to so many people. First of all, everyone can play. You can play wherever you are. It's not that we need to only play on the big stadium. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are, you can play. There is no discrimination. We have to provoke enthusiasm to the kids. And finally, we have to respect fair play. If we have this philosophy, for sure we will be able to improve our conditions. Let's go to the fourth video. This is a video when we took a game, when I was in charge of the Football Federation, to Rapa Nui, to Easter Island. And let's watch how we presented. Not working. Can we show the video, please, everyone?
Por primera vez, desde el ombligo del mundo, el cacique versus la selección de Rapa Nui.
This was the first time ever that there was a game in Rapa Nui. Colo-Colo went there with the local team at the island. It's a mix of culture. It's a mix of a lot of things. Easter Island is by plane more than 4 hours far away from Santiago. So it was a big event for them. It was an incredible good event. We can play wherever we want. And every time we go to the pitch, we go to the field, we go here with these fencing guys, practicing with also a program that we were doing at the foundation. We have to have values like solidarity, transparency, equity, respect, and of course, democracy. If we bring these 5 values to our kids, they will learn for life to have solidarity, to be transparent, to have equity, to respect the other one, to fight for democracy. And that's very important for our life. So our duty is here and now. This is one of the best guys that I have never met in sport is Luis Bonini. He was the physical trainer of our team for the national team. He died a couple of years ago, and he was always able and available to go and talk with the kids and bring them new messages on how can we develop the game. We have been doing a lot of programs. This is one of them. This is in the border. We are talking about a place, a city in 3,500 meters altitude. It's called Oyahue in the north of the country. We brought there football shoes to all the kids of the community, and we developed this video. Please go with the video. Okay. Play, please.
visite y que se hayan acordado de nuestra escuela, que es la más lejana de la segunda región, ubicado en pleno altiplano chileno.
Este es un regalo muy bonito para todos los niños, debido a que a veces no todos tienen la posibilidad de tener un regalo así. Ahora en Fundación ganamos todo, hizo que todos los niños puedan tener un par de zapatillas más para practicar una disciplina deportiva, sea fútbol, básquetbol, voleibol.
Espectacular, los niños necesitan motivación en el sentido deportivo, creo yo, y con esto es un incentivo gigante, sobre todo para las niñas, porque no todo el mundo las considera en este deporte, y las chicas acá son súper aperradas y me parece súper bueno que se les considere también a ellas. Llegaron al fin del mundo. Gracias. Gracias.
Well, as I said, we can play, doesn't matter where. These kids also deserve the chance, so that's the reason why we took them some shoes, football shoes, to give them the chance to play. And if you want, that's a fundraising campaign. We have yearly. We collect all the money and we take the shoes in November, December to the kids on a very isolated and poor environment. So if someone wants to donate something, here is all the information. We will really thank you and of course inform you about what we are doing on this campaign. Because beside that, on the past 9 years, we have been including near 200,000 girls and boys in action on sports. We have been training like 10,000 adults. We have been going overseas with near 500 kids, boys and girls in different sports. We have been developing activities in 15 sports. We have been giving more than 2,500 football shoes to the kids, boys and girls, organized 19 tournaments, different competition, different sports. We have constructed 9 stadiums, and at the moment we are helping on the construction on 10 more, and we have visited 231 counties in the country. And we have been going every place they invite us. If they invite us, we will be there. Doesn't matter if it's in the north, like in the past slide, or it's in the south, like in this one. This is our country, and we have been from the top of the top, that is called Bisbiri, where we have a border with Bolivia and Argentina, to the south of the south, where is Puerto Williams. Puerto Williams is the southern city in the world. We were there with our programs, and we will be delighted to go again. Doesn't matter where they call us, we go. There are always a kid, a boy, or a girl that is looking for someone to bring them what they are really interested in. In our case, sports. They are waiting us, they are really motivated, and they want to do it. So we go there. And when we go there, we discover incredible, incredible stories, as this one that we found in Mejillones. Mejillones is near 1,400 kilometers from Santiago in the north of the country. Let's go with the video, please. Is the video there? Yeah.
Me llamo Nelson Quiroz Funes y tengo 11 años. Estudio en la Escuela Julia Herrera Vara y juego como defensa en Ganamos Todo.
Profesora gritona, un poco como me dicen, muy gritona, pero bien.
Me gusta que mi hijo sea una persona independiente, porque me gusta que él sea deportista. Él ha superado todos los obstáculos que la vida le ha puesto, ya que él tiene su problema en su manito. Bueno, no es un problema en sí, porque le falta su mano nomás. Cuando me dice, papá, voy a la cancha a jugar fútbol, ok hijo, vaya a jugar fútbol, ten cuidado.
Estaban ahí, me tiraron un centro y hice así, y gol.
Lo malo que le hago clase a mi propio hijo.
Cuando llegué a la escuela, todos vieron que era raro mi mano. Y se empezaron a acostumbrar y nunca me ha costado una cosa.
Le compraba puros zapatos con velcro y hace poco descubrí que él se sabe abrochar los zapatos.
Él se estaba abrochando y yo lo miré y se abrochó, ¿me entendí? Entonces yo digo, este loco no tiene ningún impedimento, nada.
Bien, pero las calcetas, cuesta mucho ponérselas, son muy apretadas. Me demoro como 15 minutos en ponérmelas cada una.
Todo joven, todo niño tiene la capacidad, independiente del problema que tenga, de alguna u otra forma puede participar en cualquier deporte que él quiera hacer. No tengan miedo al qué dirán o qué va a decir mi compañero. Se va a reír de mí porque soy gordito y voy a jugar la pelota, no voy a correr, me voy a cansar, se van a burlar de mí. No. Cualquier niño que quiera hacer deporte puede. Y muchas veces las limitaciones están acá en la mente. Y eso hay que sacárselo.
Take your time, think a lot. Why think of everything you've got? For you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not.
What a great message is the one that father is giving us. All the kids can do the sports. Doesn't matter which is his conditions. We have to give them the chance to play. We have to motivate them. We have to tell them, look, the door is open, come in. Don't let them go out. Don't let them go to the electronic games and all that. Bring them to the field. Show them there that they will not only be practicing sports, they will be getting values for the rest of their life. If they learn on a very short age to respect the other ones, they will respect the other ones for life. Doesn't matter where they are. If they respect the fair play when they are younger, they will respect it for life. That is our big mission on sports. So let's go to another question on the poll. This is easy, as I have been saying. Okay. This one, I think it's very interesting. Let's see. This is one. If you have the chance to go to a single country and to go and visit and play in just one sport, which will be the one that you will be choosing? Nobody wants to surf in Australia. Oh yes, now someone is there. And nobody wants to watch American football in the USA. Americans will not be happy with their main sport, but by far the Premier League and then football in Brazil. I will be choosing, I think, the same. Perhaps some rugby in South Africa also is very interesting. I have never been in a handball game in Germany. And of course, for me, it will be a big adventure to go to a track and field competition in Jamaica. Something special must be there. That's the reason why they have such a huge number of big athletes. Thank you very much for answering. And this guy, I don't know if you know him. This guy is Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. He's one of the best, if not the best, writer in the American history. And he has this famous sentence: "My work has not been a purpose, but a passion." I have read a lot of Poe, but I think this is much better than any of his books. My work has not been a purpose, but a passion. I think it's what a leader needs, to work with passion. Before we go to the questions, another question I would like very much. Will help me very much in Chile. Which of these clubs do you know or have you heard about? Colo-Colo, Universidad Católica, Universidad de Chile, Santiago Wanderers, and Deporte de Antofagasta. A lot of people Colo-Colo, and even people from Antofagasta. That must be my friends. That's my club when I was young, and that's my home city. So I think a lot of people from Antofagasta is watching. Good numbers for the club. Well, now, so here we can go and make the question and answers. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. It's been a real pleasure to talk with you this morning for me, afternoon for other ones, and I would like to say hello and thank you very much to Mr. Halim Das, the Executive Director of the Westford University College, to inviting me here and also to be watching the presentation. So thank you very much, Mr. Hanil Das. It's a real pleasure to be with all the people there at the Westford University. Now, if we have some questions, it will be a pleasure to answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harold. I hope you can hear me.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Can you?
All right. There are a few questions already there. I can read it out for you. We have Javier Kulau's question. Many athletes whose lives are public become leaders and role models, not only for their own team, not only for their own teammates and younger athletes, but also for people in public opinions, including children. How do you work with athletes to make it compatible with their private life? This considering that some of them don't seek to be a role model and only want to play the sport and they like and live their lives the way they want. That was the first question.
Well, look, whenever we go and play a sport, we must take some values with us. It's not just to play the ball, to follow it, and no. We must say, well, we come here because we want to work on a team basis, teamwork basis. But I have to respect the other one. I have to respect the field. I have to respect the ball. I have to respect the referee. It's not just playing. It's a lot of values involved. When you are playing in a team basis, then you say, well, we are facing problems in this part. I will go and help him. That is solidarity. Sports gives such a big amount of values to our life that you cannot say, I just want to play. No. We have to have a role model there. The role model will be, we must have the chance to influence the other one, to help him to be a better person. That is in Manchester City, one of the most richest clubs in the world. Guardiola told me later, I don't hire a guy because he's a good defender. I first ask if he's or if he's not a good person. If he's not a good person, I will not hire that guy. Big difference. It's not only playing the game. Everyone can play the game. The good thing is what I'm leaving for the future of the game, which is my legacy as a player, even if I'm very weak. If you put me playing baseball, I will be a disaster. But I will do my best to be a good player and to give a legacy for the future. It's not just that I want to say, no, I'm so bad, I don't want to play. No, doesn't matter what we are playing. We need to give a legacy for the future.
Thank you. We have a question from Shamroz Ahmed. That's for you, Harold. How did you handle adversity and uncertainty, doubts? How did you handle it?
Well, the adversity, the worst one was by far when I was banned by FIFA, as I said. That was tough because I'm sure I didn't do nothing. I make a mistake and they banned me for 7 years and so on, and was tough. I cannot say another answer. But how you work on that? First of all, you have to find the support of others. You cannot do it alone. And I found, of course, the support of my family. I am the father of 5 kids. But beside that, I found the support of a lot of friends that came to say, look, this is not really what you deserve, so go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And finally you say, okay, I didn't do nothing. Why I'm suffering this? Well, perhaps it's a message that some things that I'm doing are not good. So let's work on that. Let's think a little bit more, and let's give the chance to work on the future, not to stay on the past. And when you have a trouble, as you can imagine, in football business, in sports industry, you have trouble every weekend. You have trouble with it when the team wins, but you have much more trouble when it loses. And I have one philosophy since I have been involved on the game. I have been involved in football as a member of the board, as a director, as an administrator since 1989. Doesn't matter if the team wins or if the team loses, I go to the locker room after the game. Yes or yes. Doesn't matter. And I say hello to each of the players, and I say hello to the coach, and I talk a little bit with them. When the team wins, it's really easy. Everyone wants to get there. Everyone's nowadays to have a picture. Everyone wants to congratulate the players. When they lose, nobody wants to get inside there. If you get involved in the sports industry, I will suggest you don't go when the team wins. Go when the team loses. Then you will learn a lot, much more than going to the university or to any other place. On that loser locker room, you learn more than years studying books and following different stories. I can assure you that.
Thank you. We have an interesting question from Armstrong next. How long does one have to wait before changing a strategy if it's not working? How long is that wait to change the strategy if it's not working? That's from Armstrong Olusoji.
That's a very, very good question. Thank you very much. And that's a very, very difficult answer. Sometimes you are like this, and in 1 second you change the strategy because you discover that you are on the wrong side. Sometimes you are in a hole of 10 meters and you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and you follow the same strategy. And suddenly, a couple of years later, you say, how can I work this way? It was so easy this other way. Which is the best way for this? Open the ears and hear the other ones. Sometimes someone come and tell you, look, you are not doing well. And you think this guy has no idea and so on. My best lesson in life is open the ears, hear everyone, and for sure, they will be telling you, opening you a door that you have not opened, and that door will conduct you to the right position, changing a little bit the strategy. Sometimes you have to change it completely. When you have in my case, you have to take the decision about the coaches. And when the coach is not, it's working a lot, hard work. It's doing a lot of things. It's going on a very good way from Monday to Friday. But on Saturday, he loses a game. And he had been losing 5 games in a row. It's very difficult on the top competitions to keep him. And then you have to change the strategy. And that is very, very tough. Because you have been working on a plan with one guy, and suddenly you have to change. Because the results are not coming. And top competitions, you need results. It's part of the game. You cannot be planning something, keeping it on for the future if you don't have results. So sometimes strategy, you change it in a second. Sometimes it takes you a little bit longer. Sometimes you don't change it never, and you made big mistakes on that.
Thank you. We have a question from Yunus Naji, and he asks, do you believe the current situation will have a long-term impact on the sporting industry, especially football? And what measures do you think could be implemented at venues in case football associations decide to resume competitions? I think, yeah. And I'm sure I want to add on to that, Harold. I'm sure it's not good news for the Liverpool fans uh, for the first time after very long when they're voted to be the champions. This pandemic is surely not good for the Liverpool fans. So to go back to Yunus' question, how long do you think and what measures do you think should be taken to overcome the current
Give me
pandemic?
1 minute. Let's go to the last question of the polls. If I give you these five names of Chilean players, football players: Alexis Sanchez, Claudio Bravo, Arturo Vidal, Iván Zamorano, and Marcelo Salas, which are for you the best one in this century? Yeah, I see that between Salas and Alexis. Salas was a wonderful player. I saw him playing from 17 years old. Fantastic player, in my opinion, one of our best strikers. And Alexis, I saw him since he was a kid. What a nice guy, nice person, nice player. He's from Tocopilla, a city nearby 200 kilometers from my home city, on the north, on the middle of the desert, on the middle of nothing. And he did a wonderful, wonderful job on football, and also bringing to his people all this, a lot of proud. Alexis is a wonderful player. We are sure that he will come back again, as he was at Arsenal, at Barcelona, and he also played in Colo-Colo, in River Plate, and in Cobreloa, and in the national team. He's the top scorer of our national team. Well, let's go with the question.
Yeah,
well,
the question Yunus had was how do you believe the current situation?
Yeah, well, first of all, nobody was expecting here. It doesn't matter where you live, where you are. Nobody was expecting on the sport industry that something like this will happen. I'm not talking only about football. Doesn't matter which sport. Nobody was expecting. Nobody was prepared. There were no contingency plans on such a big pandemic. That's the first thing, because a lot of people say, why you didn't do nothing? Well, nobody did nothing because it was almost impossible. Now, what will happen? I think it will be not easy at the beginning. Why? One thing is to play the game. Let's say we put Federer and Nadal playing on a house tennis court, and they will play wonderful tennis. Everyone will be enjoying. Everyone will be applauding them. Everyone will say, "Woo! What are these kind of players are?" But there will be no atmosphere, which is the key factor of the sports industry in the present day. The atmosphere that brings the supporters. And my big concern is that I hope in a very, very short period of time, people will be going back to the big events in the world. People will not be afraid they're getting something from the other one. People will be able to be together again. But I'm afraid that will take some time. And to play games on a door-closed stadium, doesn't matter which sport we are playing, it's not the same. Even watching on TV, even following it with 36 cameras or whatever. One thing is to go and play with the people, and the people give the atmosphere that the sportsmen need to improve their game. That's one thing. On the other side, in my opinion, this will bring, I'm talking about football now, this will bring down two things on football players and on the football industry. One will be the transfer fee that will go lower, for sure. I'm sure about that. And the other one will be the wages of the players. Why? Because now, I'm sure, that the top clubs in the world will say, well, let's have a contingency plan just in case we have again a pandemic or a disaster like this one. So the money, perhaps the amount of money is the same, but they will have to cut in certain aspects to be prepared if there's a big problem like the one that we are facing nowadays. Is there any other question?
Yes, surely. We are running out of time, but I hope it's okay, Harold, to continue for another 7 to 10 minutes because there are really good questions coming up. We may have to cut off with some who have asked repeated questions. The next one for you is, what is the difference in leadership styles of Pep and Alex Ferguson?
Again, please.
The difference,
what is the difference
in leadership styles of Pep and Alex Ferguson? Both of them whom you have spoken about in your session.
Yeah. Well, first, before I ask you, here in this slide, I'm sure you're watching it, is my address, my email, and also my social media, Twitter and Instagram. Feel free, I'm telling to all the guys that are hearing us, feel free to write me at any time. I have a live conduct. If someone calls me, I come back. If someone writes me, I answer. Not at the moment. I know that the young people, they send you a WhatsApp and they want an immediate answer. That's not my case. I'm very slow with the WhatsApp, but I will answer you. So if there are more questions that we don't have time today, please, these are my contact address and these are my social media. It will be a pleasure to be in contact with you wherever you are. And concerning what you are saying, well, I would say that the biggest difference is age. Mr. Ferguson was an incredible manager. He was not only in charge of the team to put the lineup, the 11 players that will be playing. He was also in charge of the office, the administration of the team, and he had a lot of knowledge of that. Now, when I have been with him in Manchester United training ground. Normally, he was not inside the pitch giving instructions to the player. Normally, he was watching how they move, watching things, from time to time giving an instruction and so on. That was his normal situation. Pep is completely the opposite. He's on the pitch, he's following, he's shouting, he's telling the players, we have to do this and that, go, move. He's always there. Mr. Ferguson was there, but he had other guys that were acting. That's a big difference. And then the other big difference, again, is the age and the use of technology. Nothing to do one with the other one, and it's impossible, and it's okay. But what I will say is, when they lose, they were very similar. They hate to lose, and that was. I'm sure most of the coaches are more or less the same. But these two, if they have some similarities, that they were always asking 100% for each player, or even 110%. But when they were losing, they got really mad and was really tough to talk with them. Not easy. When a coach lose a game, go and talk with them. And with Mr. Ferguson, as I told, and with Pep, big difference too.
Thank you. That was a question from Raj Thari, and the next one we have is from Victor. Victor Chesinder. He asks, in soccer, coaches have been fired when a very good team of players choose to underperform. If you are in the board of directors or chairperson of the board, and such a scenario presents itself, how will you handle it when a coach is fired when the team underperforms? How will you handle such a situation?
I tried to explain it before, but the key thing here is you hire a coach because you think that with this coach we'll have wonderful results, and with this coach we'll be on the top of the top. That's everyone hires a coach on that way. But if he's unable to get results, or he's unable to show a good way of playing, and at the same time very poor results, you have no option. Why you have no option? Because it's impossible to fire all the players and keep the coach. That's not realistic. Even if you think that the players are not playing good football. So what you have to do is to ask the coach to leave and bring another one. Perhaps that will change. I don't like it. It's not my style to be firing coach. It's not my style to be with the coach 24 hours a day, asking him everything, telling him what to do, checking the training sessions, and so. With Bielsa, he worked more than 3 years in our country, and he was a big success here. I never ever saw a practice. That's not my job. And I asked him, I don't care if you train 5 minutes, 10 or 5 hours. That's yourself. You take that decision. Myself and the 17 million of Chileans want to see on the field when we are playing what you have been doing during the training session. That's what we are looking. We are not. I don't care if they are training or not, or they are just talking, or they are resting. Sometimes rest is much more important than training. But I care that to be able to watch on the pitch what they want me to show. That's our big point. And of course, results. If you don't get results at the top competition, then it's really difficult to keep a coach. When we are talking about the youth, when we are talking about the kids, that's completely different, of course. We are preparing them for the future. I don't care if they lose all the games. We bring from that team 5 players, top players for the national team and for our team. That would be wonderful. I prefer that being the winners of the under 12 competition, and we do not produce any player for the future. So one thing is with the kids, with the development. Another one is top competition, and so you have to be careful on that.
Okay.
Look, I'm reading a question here that is very interesting. I don't know if we will have time. From Raj Tari, he's saying, "Is electronic sports the future?" Oops, that's very interesting. For me, I don't know how to play non-electronic games. The last time I played that must be 1985. So you can imagine. But I am really surprised what is coming with electronic sports, with the e-games. I am really surprised the number of people that at the same time can be together, not being on the same place. I'm really surprised how they prepare, how professional they are, how they work to do it. I'm sure that it will never stop the sports the way that we know them now, in a pitch or in a field or in a gym, whatever, in an arena and with a lot of people. But electronic sports are coming, and it will be impossible to stop them. And I'm sure that will bring more and more people to the games. And if this means that we will respect fair play, that we will be values behind these electronic sports, let's welcome them. We cannot stop them, but let's give them a very good welcome.
Sure, thank you. It's up to you, Harold. You can see the questions there. You want to pick one or two to wind up. I'm sorry, it's been a really interesting session, and we can see that with a lot of questions pouring in. Unfortunately, we may have to wind up in the next couple of minutes, but I leave it to you, Harold, if you want to pick one or two random questions that you see and answer them.
Here is one from Shamroz Ahmed. Did you experience failures? If so, what did you learn from them? Oof. I am sure I experienced more failures. I have been on this since 1989. That is 31 years in sports administration. It's a lot of time. As a journalist from 1983. I worked 6 years as a journalist first. And I have been playing all my life. I still play in an over 60 league, as I said before. And I'm sure I have done more mistakes than good things. I am sure if I can go back, I'm sure I will do it differently, because I have learned a lot. From every mistake you learn. When you do something right, you also learn a lot. but from the mistakes you learn much more. And which is the way that you learn? After finishing something, you have to stop a little bit and say what was good, what was not good, what must I improve in the future. It's not easy. It's not easy because normally we think that we have done everything on a perfect way, and we feel a little bit hurt when someone told us, well, you could do it this and that, and you immediately try to tell him, no, I did it on a very good way. But really, you learn a lot, and I'm sure I have made more mistakes than good things. Thank you for the question, very good one. I don't know if you have another one, Sawi?
We have a couple of questions. One was from Sherin. Can sports be used to overcome procrastination? And if yes, how? I'm sure you can. That's one. And then we also have a question from Eunice, who had asked one earlier as well. I've done my level 2 certificate in football coaching and planning to do a MSc in sports management or football industry. Do you think this is good enough to secure a job within the industry?
Can you explain me a little bit more? I don't know what
I have done my level 2 certificate in football
the
coaching.
first question. The
first one was, can sport be used to overcome procrastination? That's
what is procrastination? I don't understand.
It is, be idle, not do anything, be demotivated, procrastinate. So how do you get back to energetic, active life?
Okay, it's really difficult when you are not motivated or you don't want to do something.
It's basically also about postponing things. I mean, you just drag and keep it waiting, postponing, be idle. Yeah, how do you? We get into that mode sometimes in life. Some of us more often than not. But how do you get over it? You postpone things. You don't do it on priority. Be idle. How can sport help to overcome this?
Well, yeah, look, that's our biggest problem, I think. And we always have, when we have a tough thing, we are thinking, why don't we postpone it, or why don't we do it tomorrow? That's when I was at the university and we have a Q or a test or whatever. Our exam. We are always telling the teacher, why don't we do it tomorrow? We were sure at that time that night we will study more to be prepared for the test. With the years, I have been learning that you never prepare more. You have a deadline and you have to do it. It's not easy. It's very tough. Sometimes you don't want to play, but you have to play. Someone, you don't want to go to the office, but you must go to the office. Or someone, you don't want to give a presentation or tell them, let's do it tomorrow. No, you have to do it now. My only thing will say, you have to be very professional on this, even if you don't get paid. A lot of people think that we are professional, or we are working with professionalism because we get paid. No, that's not the right answer. We are professionalism because we do what others are supposed us to do. We are prepared for something, and at the right moment, we are working on that. We are not waiting for others to do it. That will be my answer. I will look later.
Thank you.
Selim,
I think we can wind up with one last question, Harold.
Yeah, no, there's another one from Jones. But if Selim send me an email, I will find exactly what procrastination is, and I will answer it better. And about Jonas, yes, I will say yes. If you are a football coach, I can imagine that you are a football player too. If you combine being a football coach, a football player, and you have studies in sport management, I'm 100% sure that it will. I'm not sure if it will be a good combination to secure you a job within this industry. I cannot tell you that. But I'm sure that you will be a very good administrator on sports, because you know from the three sides of the game what's going on: playing, coaching, and administrating. And if you are able to learn the 17 laws of the game, then you will be for sure top of the top, prepared for the game. So go ahead, take that MCC in sport management, and if you write me, I can suggest you some places to go. That would be a pleasure too.
Surely, Yunus, I think you'll benefit by being in touch with Harold as well. One last question, is that okay? I think it's a good question to end. We have a question from Abdul Fahim, and his question is, he's thanking you. Glad to meet you, sir. My question is that in the time of the global pandemic and isolation that we are going through now, how can sports play a catalyst role in promoting our health and quality living, like the situation that we are currently in?
Well, at the moment, I will say more than sports. I will say to keep fit, to go and walk. The ones that can walk, because there are some places where you cannot go to the street. Go and walk. Go and do some exercise. Do something for yourself. That will help you a lot, because if not, it's a very dangerous situation at the moment. Keep safe and do physical activities. That's one thing. And later, I'm sure sports will be fantastic to bring us all together again. It will take time, but we'll bring us together again. And it will be the best way to tell the other ones that life change. This pandemic will bring big changes to our lifestyle of daily lifestyle. But sports and physical activities will help us to keep it on the right way. So I will suggest that. I don't know, so if we have a time for one more slide, the video number 7 that you have there.
Yeah, sure.
If we can show it.
We can play that.
Go ahead. This also is this video also is one of the videos of our program of Toperoles para Todos. This is a youth jail in Valparaíso.
Raya, are you there? Will you be able to play this video number 7?
No, that's number 1.
You want to play number 7, isn't it?
No, that's number 1. If you have video number 7, please.
Yeah, sure. Is that the one?
That's the one, yes. Something happened. Go ahead, please.
El camino que lleva a Belén.
I think there is a technical glitch there. Can you see the video?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Okay.
Con unas personas que decidieron pasar esta mañana junto a todos ustedes, que no van a salir con permiso o no tienen la posibilidad de salir para la Pascua, con sus familias. Queremos dar la bienvenida a los integrantes de la Fundación Ganamos Juntos, que preside el señor Harold Mayne-Nicholls.
Ha nacido en un portal de Belén. Ropopom-pom, ropopom-pom. Yo quisiera poner a tus pies algún presente que te agrade, Señor, mas tú ya sabes que soy pobre también y no poseo más que un viejo tambor. Ropopom-pom, ropopom-pom. En tu honor junto al portal tocaré con mi tambor el camino que lleva a Belén. Yo voy marcando con mi viejo tambor. Nada mejor hay que te pueda ofrecer. Su ronco acento es un canto de amor.
Muy contento de poder tener esta oportunidad de compartir, como dije anteriormente, con esta gente y poder, bueno, ver a todos estos niños felices.
Me sonrío, ropopom-pom, 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 ropopom-pom.
Well, this is what we did with the kids in one of our programs on Toperoles para Todos, and I will really appreciate if some of you can help us to bring more happiness to these kids for Christmas. So these are all our information. If someone can help, more than welcome. And again, if someone contacts us at the foundation or at my social media or at my private email, please feel free and be sure I will be answering. Again, thanks a lot to Hanil Das, the Executive Director of the Westford University College. I hope to be again in Dubai and give another presentation to your people. It was fantastic what I did it, I think, 5 or 4 years ago. And again, it's fantastic to be working with you with this system. So please feel free to contact me and we can do it again. And also to all the people that came this morning. It's morning time here. I will go now for breakfast. And again, Saul here, thank you a lot. Wonderful job from all your people. And really, I really enjoy it. This is new technology for me. Sorry for all the mistakes and the time it took me to go to the poll and so and so and so. But I will be learning, and perhaps in the near future you invite me again, and you will see that I have been improving. Ciao, bye bye. Have a
Thank you
nice
so much, Harold.
And keep safe.
Everybody from Westford thanks you. All the questions you have answered. They're also thanking you specifically on behalf of Westford and the entire family. All the people who attended this webinar, I'm sure we are all inspired. Thank you so much for your time. God bless and keep doing the good work, and all our prayers and support with you, Harold. Thank you very much.
And be sure that I will select 2 questions and I will be sending them to them by normal mail.
Sure,
pleasure.
sure.
Have
Thank
a nice
you so much.
weekend and keep
Enjoy.
safe.
Thank you, everyone.
There.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.